So this lake is the remnants of the much larger prehistoric lake that we call Lake Bonneville. Lake Bonneville was formed here and covered most of what is now Utah about 20,000 years ago, and it was formed after the last ice age. So if you can imagine all these massive glaciers melting from this big lake that was over 1,000 feet deep and over 20,000 square miles. And if you look at this mountain, you can see some evidence of that lake. You'll see some horizontal lines that cut all the way across, about maybe a fifth or a sixth of the way up the mountain here. And on this peak, right behind those 4 white silos there, you'll see this peak with multiple horizontal lines. And the tallest line is the highest the lake ever got. So that was when it was about 1,000 feet deep, about 19,000 years ago. And you can find these lines on all of the mountains in the surrounding area. That's just the shoreline from that prehistoric lake. And it was freshwater, so it had all sorts of fish living in it, all sorts of life. And what happened to that lake is there was a breach up in Idaho at a place called Red Rocks Pass, and a lot of that water started flowing out into the Pacific Ocean in a pretty large flood. And over the next 5,000 years, that lake also evaporated. And as that massive lake evaporated, what was left behind was the Great Salt Lake, as well as the Bonneville Salt Flats. And all of those minerals that were in that big freshwater lake just became concentrated here as it evaporated. And so that's why it's so salty here. This is kind of the leftover puddle from that much larger lake. If you haven't heard of the Bonneville Salt Flats before, it's this massive salt desert that's about an hour drive west of here. It's another thing to see. It's on the way to Nevada. But it's one of the largest, flattest places on Earth, and it's just this big salt desert. And they do racing out there. There's a place, it's called the Bonneville Speedway, and they do land speed records out there. So people who want to try to break the record for fastest motorcycle on Earth will go out to the Bonneville Salt Flats and go race out there. The record right now for motorcycles is about 370 miles an hour, which is now that record was set out here on the Bonneville Speedway, which is incredible. And it's not super smooth either. It's not as smooth as a road because it's all just a desert floor, so it's pretty bumpy and very dangerous. So people roll their cars out there all the time, and people die out there like every couple of years. Super sad, but it kind of comes with racing cars on the desert. One of the speed records for the jet-propelled cars was also set out there. It's been beaten recently, but it was 630 miles an hour for a jet-propelled car. And so, you can go see them racing every couple weekends. They'll have a big race out there. They'll have people racing motorcycles or their personal vehicles. You can even take your own car out there. There's really no rules. It's all it's all public land, so you can do whatever you want out there as long as it's not if it hasn't rained for the last 2 weeks. You should be good to go. You won't get stuck. But you got to be a little careful. I usually don't recommend people take their personal vehicles out there, but if you have like a rental car or like a friend's car, it's a little bit more fun. You don't have to worry about it as much. But just make sure you read your rental agreement, because usually rental companies out here, they have to specify to not take the car out onto the salt flats, because salt's extremely bad for metal, and it'll get all up under the undercarriage of your car. So we'll get cars in the marina here all the time that are coming in from Nevada, just caked in salt. Last year I had a guy come into the marina here with a rented Tesla that he rented. He had taken it on the salt flats. He told me he had maxed it out at 165 miles an hour up there. His rental Tesla. And I always thought that they would have some sort of governor on like a rental car. But that's what he told me, 165 miles an hour, which is pretty incredible.
That's right.
I bet his rental company wasn't very happy with this. That's
when he brought it back. When he brought it back.
Yeah. It's like hopefully he at least took it to a car wash first, tried to hide him. But that's faster than I've ever gone in the car.
Right.
That'd be kind of fun. But that is the Bonneville Salt Flats. Cool place to go. It is kind of in the middle of nowhere, though. It's in between here and Nevada, and there's nothing really in between. There's one small town on the way called Grantsville, but besides that, there's no gas station. There's nothing. Just this white salt desert.